So let's pull back a little bit and just talk about the war and where you see it now, Ken.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just been an extraordinary month. It seems like every day, how many, over 100 shadow tankers have been neutralized. How do you see the next few months?
Well, it's astonishing, isn't it, what Ukraine can do when it no longer has one hand tied behind its back by the United States. And look, I wish we had given them the tools and the permission to do this 3 years ago. They have figured it out on their own, and they are no longer waiting for an American administration to give its blessing. They are taking the fight to Russia, and Russia is finally feeling the pain. Between 35 and 40,000 casualties a month on the Russian side, 90% of whom are killed by or incapacitated by drones. I don't care what your recruiting pipeline is like. There just aren't enough bodies across the republics, even in the African countries they're recruiting from. And the word is getting out that this is what's in store for you. I think a recent Ukrainian report said that the average lifespan of a Russian infantryman from the line of departure is measured in minutes, and the Ukrainians aren't. That's not bluster. I've been in an attack drone unit in a bunker hunting Russians. They document every kill because they're with FPV drones. They're on camera. It's not like, a World War I artillery salvo where you're not sure whether you hit something or not. They know. And when you hear these numbers between 35 and 40,000 casualties a month, that's real. And I don't know how you sustain that, especially when you add, as you alluded to, the economic damage that their longer range drone campaign is having on Russia's economy.
And, there seems to be just no pretense at all now by the Russians of not targeting civilians.
Yeah.
I mean, what's been happening in Kyiv just the past couple of weeks, no pretense. It's extraordinary. And their use of these hypersonic missiles that, keep hearing about that there's not time for an air raid alert, which kind of changes when you and I were in Kyiv and I said, are you going to go to a bomb shelter? He goes, well, it depends on what kind of alert it is. You have no alert. How do you calculate that?
Right. It's a brutal calculus, and you're probably like me. You do what the Ukrainians do. They have figured out by now when you sprint to the bomb shelter, when you walk to the bomb shelter, or when you keep watching your Netflix. I was interviewing a U.S. senator. I won't out him by saying which one, in Odessa a few months ago, and we got a routine air raid alarm. I didn't even register it. I mean, you sort of, after a while, you tune out the phone alarm. You learn to recognize which ones are real and which ones aren't. And suddenly, everyone was freaking out. The security came in, they dragged them into the basement, and me and my Ukrainian friends, including my interpreter, my cameraman, we're all just sort of laughing, and we're like, all right, I guess this is one we go into the bomb shelter for, just so we can finish this interview. But it is after 4 years of this, they have figured out when you run, when you walk, and and when you don't bother.
So what are your plans now? What are you working on now, Ken?
I was afraid you would ask this.
It's a question I always hated. Whenever you finish a book and you have to go talk about it, what are you working on now?
I have something very specific in mind. I have to be very, very careful with it because it walks. I tell you what, ask me in 2 months.
Okay.
And it's a legal thing, not a security thing.
A commitment to come back in 2 months?
Yes. Let's do this again in a couple of months. I'm heading back to Ukraine in a few weeks, and there's a really interesting story that I hope I can do responsibly, and if I can, I promise you we will talk about it.
Well, I'm going to go over on the next convoy the last week in August or so. Will you be around Kyiv then, you think?
I'll be in Kyiv for a day or two.
Okay.
There's one story I can share with you because a mutual
Okay.
friend of ours is spearheading it, and that is about the longest sniper shot verified in the history of warfare. I mean, it's insane. It's many thousands of meters. I imagine that there was a lot of luck involved. But one of the things I am trying to do is tell a story about Ukraine, not just as a victim of this horrific Russian aggression, but tell the story of Ukraine as a powerful country, a proud country, an emerging superpower. And I mean that. I think Ukraine is going to come out of this war not just as a military superpower. You already have the Gulf states and our European allies going to them for help, not us. I think it's going to emerge as a moral superpower, in large part, and mostly because of how it has withstood the onslaught, but also because we're not carrying that torch like we used to. I think the beacon of freedom and democracy, if we lit it, is being carried by Ukraine now.
No question. And I think about what it's like to grow up in Ukraine today and be able, what a gift it is to be able to look at your leaders and across society, not just, Zelensky and the usual figures.
Yeah.
And know that they represent something that is the best of us, something that, and so different than growing up as a kid in America now.
It is.
You look at what's happened to the, Republican Party, Donald Trump, you look at it like who wants to be that? It's not a surprise that there's tens of thousands of young Republicans who are in pro-Nazi chats.
Yeah.
What's surprising is that J.D. Vance defends it, but that's another conversation. The last time I was in Kyiv, I met this woman introduced by a mutual friend who was sort of the queen of Kyiv nightlife, running the biggest club in Kyiv the night before the invasion, full-scale invasion. Next day, she enrolled in a medic class and now has this charity that assembles personal medical kits for soldiers. And, that kind of, you walk into where it still looks like a club, sort of. They're all like hipsters,
Is she the one with purple hair?
Yeah, she has purple hair. Yes.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, she was running a club in Kyiv. Yeah. But she's been doing this for years now. And, when that kind of call to serve is so entrenched in the society, because they know what the alternative is, if nothing else. I mean, you take this highly educated, extraordinarily entrepreneurial class of country and say, okay, we're going to kill you if you don't fight. It's pretty motivating. And it's extraordinary how many innovation centers there are, 4 or 5. I mean, you've seen a million of these. I find it so inspiring, combined with what happened in Hungary with the elections. It's sort of, I think, sort of the best hope we have. So, Ken, where do we find you? You have your Substack.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Substack these days. I think the world is moving over to Substack. I'm of course still on Midas Touch, and I do the Blue Sky and everything else, but Substack is kind of a special place in that you have a relationship with your audience. So go find me over on Substack at the Ken Harbaugh Show. We'll continue to report from Ukraine. Like Stuart said, we got another trip coming up. Hopefully you and I can rendezvous in Kyiv. And there are a couple of units in particular that I really want to help out because they have taken really good care of me. The 34th Marine Brigade featured in Drone Hunters of Kherson. And so I will post opportunities to help out these units, which are doing some incredible work, life-saving work, especially in areas like Kherson, where there's no more EMS, right? If you're living 2 blocks away from the highway of death in Kherson and an FPV hits your car or your house, the ambulance isn't coming. It's the military that has to come get you. So These are the bravest guys in the world right now, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure as many of them see the end of the war as possible.